All right, successful home inspector podcast people. Had to make sure I was doing the right one because I also do a successful realtor podcast where I interview. I just keep it the same, try not to get it mixed up. But for all the listeners out there, I have a special guest. This dude, I kind of watched him come along, and I was doing a little snooping, stalking, and man, you guys, 10 years, you've grown incredibly, Mr. Hyde Anderson. How are you doing?
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. It's great to sit down and talk to you. We just got done with IAB Unite and
Mhm.
didn't see you there. Missed you.
Yeah, we
But
got so much going on right now,
I
but
understand. Yeah,
that's an
tough time of
excuse.
year. But Wally Conway, he did a breakfast for people, and before he was like, "I'm gonna have breakfast with six people, the first six people that want to come." And I was like, "I'm coming to breakfast." He's like, "You don't know
Right.
what I'm talking about yet." I'm like, "I don't care." Wally Conway is gonna have people at breakfast. I'm gonna be there. I very
Yeah.
much feel the same way. Like anytime I can get an hour of your time, Preston, more than happy to be here and talk, man.
Oh, well, thank you. And for all the listeners out there, I did go to the conference before this, and I was at the table next to Hyde and his bride, Jessica.
Yep.
And so after lunch, we went to lunch, and my whole table bailed on me, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was me or I'm sitting there by myself. And,
Right.
you were like, "Hey, man, you would come sit with us?" Because there's like group work and stuff, and I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a good group you had there, and that was fun. Still don't know why my table bailed though. I don't, no
That was
idea.
the first time I remember that they did the new conference trick was eat at your table. Just eat right there, okay? Oh,
Yeah,
some people are going to sell you stuff from the stage for a little while, right? And I
uh,
don't mind it, but it's just one of those things where if you haven't been through it before, you're like, what do we do now? Because before everyone would go someplace else to eat. And now it's like, nope,
right.
just stay right there. We're all going to have a talk. And you're like, oh, okay, I got it.
Well, probably was it the people who were talking sponsored the lunch? Probably.
Yeah, they're with the platinum sponsors for the event.
Oh, okay.
So absolutely. It was there, they get a half hour to do their thing. And, it wasn't like in any way nefarious. I mean, you could get up and walk out whenever you wanted to. It's just
Yeah.
smart staging. It's like you're already sitting there, grab that box and come back, and then, we can keep on with the conversation.
Oh, I 100%. I listen to them because I do the exact same thing with realtors all the time. I sponsor
Yeah.
bold lunches and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll listen. I mean, heck, I can't. I'm eating. My ears are available, but yeah,
Hmm.
let's see what they got to
Hmm.
say. But anyway, this is your podcast, Hyde. So tell us about. I read that you and your wife were two poor kids. I was in my stalking. You started your
A-
business 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
So how did you?
Someone,
I mean, how did you get into the glamorous world of home inspecting? Did you take
sure.
a wrong turn somewhere in life, or what? How
I
did you?
did, but
How did
that
this
was
happen?
I did, but that was 10 or 15 years earlier.
All right.
Out of college, I became a truck driver. At the age of 21, I turned 21 on a Monday. I went to truck driving school on a Wednesday, and that is the absolute earliest that they will let you become a truck driver that crosses state lines in the States. And I always tell the joke, I say in America, at the age of 18, we will send you to basic training. We will give you a rifle. We will let you go die for your country, but we will not let you make a mistake so bad as to become a truck driver at the age of 18. And there's a good reason for that. It's no way to make a living. I don't suggest it for anyone. But I did that for, about 15 years.
Right.
I met my wife at the age of 35. She was younger than 35. And we just, it was one of those relationships where we knew right away. Like as
Awesome.
soon as we met each other, the first 30 days, we were together 28 of them. It was just like immediately, this is us now. This is what we do. Um,
Right.
so then before we were even married, we were planning out a home inspection company. She had
Oh
looked
wow.
into her dad doing it previously. He was a mechanic, kind of the same industry. And then when we were talking, as we were dating, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this forever. She was in hospitality, which is a great asset, but a terrible way to also spend your evenings.
I've done a little bit of
And
that.
yeah,
So it's a lot. It's so much work and late nights and stuff. Yeah.
it really is. It's great foundation. I hope my daughter does most of it, but that's not the job you retire from. you know.
No,
That's
no.
just, what you do when you're kids. Um, but then we wanted to start a business, and home inspection was very easy to get into. At the time, there was no licensing in Ohio. So we paid, one of the schools far too much money. We paid them like 3 grand, and we had a business for less than $5,000, and we were up and running. So we started in 2015. We got married in 2015. We had our daughter in 2017, bought our first house in 2017,
Wow, that
and
was a big
it
year for you.
was we had so much stress in the, like, how they say every major life thing that you do is just stress and you should only do them so often. We just
Right,
did it
right.
all at the exact same time. Like, we literally did we bought a house, we had a daughter, we got married, we did them all in the course of 2 years. Um, but that was also the year that I went full time with home inspections. The middle of 2017, had my daughter in August. And fast forward to 2020, right into the pandemic, we decided it was a good idea to hire people. That's what you do. And honestly, the pandemic in Ohio was incredibly good to us. We had great growth during the pandemic. I don't think it was so much pandemic related as it was we were that size of a home inspection company that is just going to grow, right? I
Right.
had done 429 home inspections in 2019 by myself.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Uh,
That's a lot.
so
You were
that's a
you were
lot.
staying up late writing reports. I can tell you that right now.
Absolutely. We had ACC with us at the time, but that was it. So I was still doing all the ancillaries and driving all of that, and Jess was doing growth for us part-time. And then that's when, at that size of a company, like when you're getting 400 plus inspections a year, you can do 600 without doing any additional marketing.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
that much demand for you at that time that all you have to do is hire someone and you're going to fill up 200 inspections on a schedule. That's kind of the way it is. So we started hiring in 2020, and I've been through more than our fair share of troubles and hardships. But have just been, we're the two poor kids that I say just don't take no for an answer,
I
you
love it.
know,
Love it. So,
because we started a business with no debt and with
yeah,
very little money, and
same.
one that
Bootstrap. Everything's bootstrap.
completely bootstrapped. So you learn right away you can't go out of business.
Right.
Like, that doesn't happen. You might get the inconvenience of having to file a new LLC and make a new logo if the worst case scenario happened, right? But you can't go out of business. You don't owe anyone anything. There's nothing
Right.
to lose. So we've always had that mentality of we're just not taking no for an answer. We're going to keep going no matter what.
100%. And back when I was starting out like that, I said, if I have to deliver pizzas at night or something like that to keep this thing going, I will do it. Fortunately, it never came to that. But that was my mindset. I want to back up on two things you said. Little known fact, I had my CDL license for
Good
a
for
long
you.
time. I didn't drive a truck. I drove a school bus
Oh,
in
cool.
high school and college. I used to let high school people drive it, and we had to get our CDL, the air brakes. So I think I could have drove a tractor trailer. I think at one point I let it go because you got to have a physical every year and all that stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I don't do it anymore. But crazy thing though, my mom goes on all these bus tours. Like
Huh?
Amish country or the Florida. I said, maybe one day when I retire, I might like to do that. That'd be kind of fun, just for a fun job. I get
For
my
sure.
CDL back. But I love your story. So how many inspectors do you? How many folks or not just inspectors? How many employees do you have now, and how are they allocated?
Yeah, size of the team. So we have 6 inspectors now. 5 of them are
Wow.
full time.
When
We've
you
got
just
one.
started hiring in the pandemic, it's good.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been hiring for, just about 4.5 years. Um, 5 of them are just full time 365, and then one of them is seasonal. So he'll come on in March, and then he'll come off the schedule, around September, October. But he works full time during the summer for us. And then it's a total team of about 11. So I get to function as the GM. I haven't done an inspection in the last 2 years. My wife does
Nice. It's a good
more.
feeling, isn't it? I'm
It
not even
is.
sure I could do it anymore. We've changed software since I did.
I had to, so the only time I go out on inspections, uh, you guys use Spector Advanced or something similar, right? So we have
No,
E,
we're still using home gauge. Daggone.
uh,
Oh, I shouldn't
well,
say that. I mean, but I know when I say that, people are like, dude, you're a dinosaur, man.
hey, we make a lot out of it, but whatever works.
Yeah.
So we get automated emails. And of course, we set one up for when a home is so big, the office gets an email says, hey, this house is over 3,500 square feet. You probably need another inspector. And it's just that reminder so that if they book online or if someone takes the call and doesn't quite realize it, they get that extra person on there. Well, I get a specialized one when the house is over 7,000 square feet. And that's when I'm like, I might want to swing by this one. Like,
Yeah.
look this up on Zillow. This could be cool. Um, so I'll inevitably get out to one of those, and they'll be like, "Hey, you gonna help us out?" I'm like, "I mean, I'll run whatever you want me to. Like, we have walkie-talkies for those big jobs. We did a 20,000 square foot residential home. Easy to
Wow.
get lost in one of those. You've done them."
Oh,
And so
yeah.
we've got walkie-talkies, and I'm like, guys, I'll run you whatever tools you need. I'll turn on thermostats and whatnot, but I don't know how to use our template right now. Don't ask me.
Yeah. Same thing. You know,
Yeah.
when I first got into it, or when I was younger, I really the same thing. I enjoyed those big houses and stuff, and I mean, I won't turn them down. But as I get older, I'm like, ah, man, give me that 1,500 square foot to 2,300 square foot.
Yeah.
If I could just get lucky and it'd be a pull down stairs and on a slab all day long. Of
Oh
course,
man,
I'm
I'm
not
I'm
that
lucky.
lucky.
We're in Ohio, so I'll get a text from my buddies and it'll be like, "How's your day?" Back when I was inspecting, and I'd be like, "Man, vaulted ceilings and finished basements. No complaints from me." You know?
Except for Friday afternoon. Then you get the farmhouse built in 1890 with a crawl space this high and snake
That's
skins hanging
usually
everywhere.
it. Yeah,
you,
absolutely.
I thought about what the other thing I was going to ask or comment when you were talking about y'all did all your stressful things in 2017.
Mhm.
One time I looked up life's most stressful events. I don't know if they've changed, but I Googled it, right? What are the top 10 or whatever? And number one is death of a child. I remember that for sure. I mean, that would be the worst thing that could ever happen. But like two, three, four, five, or six was moving to a new town, new job, kid moving out, kid moving back home. And I can't remember all these 10 things. And I said, man, usually when we're inspecting a house, our buyers or sellers are dealing with, if not one, three of those things, like new
Yeah.
job, new, and so I said that to my inspector. So, it's just like, our presentation and the way we frame things, you got to realize these people are going through some stressful events. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I didn't mean
Absolutely.
to hijack your your interview there, but you made me think of it. Well,
No, we preach that a lot because it is a high stress situation. And I took this from when I used to drive for a living. We delivered food to restaurants. And we're in the, Midwest, so we get plenty of snow, plenty of ice, plenty of, bad conditions to drive in. And we would have guys that were running around our warehouse or getting into their truck all stressed out. They're running behind, of course. They're dealing with adverse conditions. They're dealing with snow. They're dealing with rain. They have to go across state lines. They've got all this
you
to
gotta go to
go
those way
through.
stations and stuff too, man.
Absolutely. And then when they get there, they have to pull a dolly out and do half the work themselves. And you just have to look at them sometimes. And I tell this to my inspectors, I go, guys, we're not reaching in to someone's chest cavity and replacing their heart today, okay?
Right, right, right,
This is a stressful situation, it is, but no one's going to die. It's going to be
right.
okay. Someone might be rude to you at the worst, okay? Someone might, might vent on you a little bit because the radon test is going to be a little later than they wanted to, but it's okay.
Yeah.
This is not life or death. And you have to
I
have,
tell them if it's not burning or bleeding, it's not.
Exactly.
a real emergency.
Exactly.
And people, realtors will want to push on you a little bit, because that. So, I'm not going to speak bad about realtors because that's where 90% of our business comes from. But
Hmm.
some of them are very A type. That profession has a lot more A type personalities than any other profession. But like you said, I'm just not going to let it affect my calmness. I'm very much like Epictetus and what's the word here I'm looking for?
And
Stoicism.
that's,
It's just
by the
like,
way, that's how you get a reputation for being a professional,
yeah,
is when there's a situation that would rattle people that doesn't rattle you.
right.
And you can
Well,
just
and
sit
being
there at the
upset
counter.
about it or stressed
Yeah.
doesn't fix anything. It doesn't do you any good except give you cancer. I mean,
I,
like
I
or heart
always
disease.
tell I always tell my inspectors this because I got to do 1,600 inspections myself, and I always said, if you're talking to your client and you see your client yawn, that's exactly where you want them. You want them so relaxed during their inspection that they're almost kind of tired, that they kind of yawn, because that's when they're in an emotional state to take no matter what you're going to tell them. They're relaxed. And when it comes to, I mean, honestly, in this business, bedside manner is everything.
Oh,
And it's
100%.
absolutely, and it's everything for a reason. It's because we are counseling people through one of the most stressful things they're going to do, if not in their next 5 years, definitely this year or next
And
year,
it's their
right?
biggest investment. Most
Hmm.
90% of the people, if you said their net worth, it's their house.
Hmm.
I mean,
And there's a lot of inspectors that will get people riled up for whatever reason they have. Maybe they're trying to protect their own liability. Maybe they're trying to prove their value. We don't try to do any of that. I always say, no one makes a good decision from a place of fear. So you don't want your clients to be afraid of anything because when they're
100%.
afraid, they're not going to make a good decision. Though, you bring up the word like foundation, like, hey, the foundation's Boeing. Down here in Ohio, we see that 3 out of 10 transactions. And people have an emotional response to that. There's a problem with the foundation of my house. And we all know that like that foundation problem may be between like $3,000 to $5,000. It's not a lot of money because they just walked past the 20-year-old furnace like it was nothing, saying, well, we just hope it's going to last. But then they get all caught up on this, one foundation issue. It's like, no, you need to lead with education and you need to make sure that they're not scared because they're not going to make a good decision. And I've always felt that it's almost a form of professional negligence to let your client walk out of a house and then get in contract on a house that has 9 out of 10 of the same problems.
Right, right, right.
If they're going to see the exact same problems at the next house, let them know, hey, this is something we run into 5 out of 10 times, 7 out of 10 times. Every garage has shrinkage cracks, and because it's almost kind of heartbreaking when they come back for the next inspection because every time they come back for the next inspection we get accused of this all the time, right? You just want your next inspection. I don't know about your numbers, but my numbers say every single time a client comes back they spend less money. They don't
Mm,
have the extra money for that ancillary service, which is our bread and butter. So I don't want clients to come back. I want the new client that's gonna spend $700 or $800. I don't want the guy that's gonna come back and spend four. So I
mm,
think that, you have to be very reasonable with clients and say, hey, these are the problems. If you want to live in this neighborhood in this age of house, this is what you're going to see.
Let
Might
me
get a
ask
little,
you.
go ahead.
Oh, good. Let me ask you this. I'm sort of answering a question that you're already answering too. What do you, and I 100% agree with you on, the calm demeanor, setting expectations, keeping them calm. What do you do though when or how do you, because it hits all of us sooner or later. The contractor comes in there behind you and he gets them all riled up. When your inspector should have seen this, and da da da, and then you get that call. How do you handle that or diffuse that? I mean, and again, I'm thinking of our listeners, who
Hmm.
may be growing. If they haven't had that situation yet, they will, because
Yeah.
it happens to everybody. How do you
Yeah.
handle it?
Well, there's a lot of times when you leave a house and you're just busy, especially if you're a single man operator and you got to get to the next house. That's fine. Happens
Right.
all the time. In our market, real estate agents rarely show up. So it's usually just a client.
Right.
If you're at a home inspection and there's an overbearing father or there's a contractor that
Buyer's
shows
dead.
up,
Buyer's
yep,
dead.
if there's a contractor that shows up during that home inspection, then I don't care how busy you are, when you leave, call that agent. And this is all you have to say. Hey, man, we had a great inspection. I got access to everything I needed to see. I'm going to have this report done. Everything looked great. The contractor was there. I know he had some concerns, but you should talk to him about that.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then just let them know, like, hey, I was there. I wasn't the only one there. There
Yeah.
was someone else. And you don't need to throw them under the bus. You don't need to talk trash, but let them know, like, I got everything done that I needed to do. Everything was fine with mine, but there are some other factors, and you might want to get ahead of that because
Yeah.
realtors are
You
always
get in
going to
front of it.
respond well when you watch their back.
Yeah. I think kind of what you're saying too, and I wholeheartedly agree because we've had, numerous meetings with our company. Communication.
Yeah.
Communicate. I mean, I would say 9 out of 10, snafus, whatever you want to call them, dumpster fires, whatever, callbacks. You could
Mhm.
almost always trace it back to a breakdown in communication somewhere, or that made it worse than it had to be. Just more communication. The more you can't communicate too much. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
I'm
Keep
I'm
talking to them till they
very,
yawn, like you said.
yeah, exactly. As soon as they yawn, you got them. That's where you want them. Uh,
Hey,
I I always we're very fortunate to have a great group of inspectors. Only one of our inspectors isn't a CMI. All that means is they've been in the business. My guys have been in the business a long time. They've seen a lot of stuff, right? So when we get that complaint from a realtor, your guy said this and your guy said that. I know he didn't say that. I guarantee you he didn't say
we
that.
tape it. We tape it just like a
Yep.
policeman.
And then you end up talking to, your inspector. He's like, "No, I didn't say that. But by the way, there were three contractors walked in after me." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, now we know what's going on."
We all our guys now they wear the thing just
Body
like a,
cams.
a policeman. Well, for multiple reasons. The he said she said stuff. The thing that you said, like, there were multiple people there. You get back, realtor calls you. Somebody muddied the towels and somebody
Yeah,
left the window shades up and blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I've got my video of my that was somebody else. It wasn't us, or
absolutely.
uh,
You can watch my whole
and just
inspection
the
video.
fact that you have it on and you tell them and let them know
Oh
that
yeah.
I think eliminates a lot of what you said. Like my inspector said this because they know they were recorded, so they know they
Mhm.
can't. You know,
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, absolutely.
we've run into a bunch of stuff where they buy the house. Back when it was a big time sellers market, and they just bought it. They didn't, and then they get in, they have buyer's remorse, and they got a problem, and it was in the inspection report. And they call and complain or something, and you're like, it's in there. Well, that inspector made me feel that it wasn't a big deal. Like, well, we have the tape. I'm sorry you interpreted it, but it's written in the report, and we have the. I don't know. But anyway,
Right, right.
let's do some positive stuff here. What so obviously you went from you and your wife started the classic story. You're up, staying up late, got more business than you can handle. Probably at some point your quality of life was starting to stink because I know mine was. Every time I was like, I can't
Hmm.
do this anymore. I've got to hire people. You started to hire people, and now you've grown to 6 inspectors. Tell me, like, obviously word of mouth, but what have you done? Because there's a lot of guys out there struggling to get business. Do you have any
Right.
marketing tips? What
Yeah.
or guys want to grow their business? What would you tell them?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll talk to inspectors and even new guys, solo operators, and I tell them, like, our marketing strategy is very direct. It's very easy, and usually when, like, I lay out half of it for them, they're like, "I'm not good at marketing." I'm like, "Well, I got news for you. That's over half of this job.
Yeah, it
That is
is. It's
most
half of any
of it."
any home service job though. It's half of,
And
and
it,
it's not just home inspection.
yep. And we have inspectors, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. guys that just completely copy our social media strategy, which is really easy, and they do great with it. There's an inspector in our market. I love the guy. He's a good friend. We still do all of his sewer scopes for him, right? And he just went on to Instagram, saw what we were doing on Instagram, and just copied what we did on Instagram. And he's
Man,
got
we
a
got a guy here in our market copying everything.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
it's
there's part of
annoying,
you,
man. It's annoying, but I know what you say.
there's part of you
It's
that
the
says that, but we know that our biggest competition is ourselves. You don't want other people to copy your moves, but it's just it's no excuse not to go out and perform.
yeah.
We've
No, I
been
agree.
yeah, we've been in a very tough real estate market for a long time, and this is the first year in the last 5 years where it actually felt like the real estate market kind of like started to breathe,
Yeah.
where we
I
could
think it's starting to shift to a buyer's market, they say, instead of a sell.
absolutely.
We've been in a seller's market for like 5 years.
The last 2 months we're up like 52%. This last month, we were up like 60% with no changes. We didn't change any of our marketing. And it's just like, oh, it's like it let loose, like there's finally homes there to inspect. But we do a lot of the classic stuff. My wife sponsors every event that she feels is worth it. She goes to every happy hour that she can, and we just engage with the community as much as possible. We just
Awesome.
started getting into CEs, so we'll do continuing education as we can. And mostly that'll probably be focused on some of our stretch markets that we want to open up here shortly. But very classic playbook, like interacting with agents on social media, going to their events, and caring about their lives.
Yeah. Um, for newer guys starting out, how would they find out about events and uh,
Yeah.
things they could sponsor? I know once you get to a certain size, like you, they're coming to you. I mean, I get hit up
That's a,
all the time.
that's
And
a
oh, by the
problem with
way, if
some.
you're not doing this already, you probably are. You can negotiate those. Every
Oh
single one
yeah.
of them.
Oh
E-
yeah.
e- Every single one. It's like, oh, they want $500, and I tell them, all I can do is 250 or 300, and
It's just like you mentioned before. You have to
most of the
realize
time they'll take it.
you're dealing with a type A personality. They negotiate poorly.
Negotiate prices. Yeah, exactly.
They will not respect you if you do not negotiate.
Right.
There are some now you will have agents that when they call up and they say I need $500 for this, you give it to them because it's worth it. But
Right.
if it's
Or you look in your books, they've given us 34 inspections. Yes, write that
exactly,
check.
exactly, and you can't even calculate how many inspections you got just from word of mouth from them, right?
Right, right, right.
To other realtors. But then you get that ask from that person that doesn't use you or
Right. No,
has their favorite
and it's
guy.
like they want $1,000 for a Christmas party or something. And
Yeah.
they're like,
And
and
they
they don't
they
use us.
always want it 5 days before the event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is always last minute. And when someone asks you last minute, it means they have no other options.
Right,
So
right.
you don't have to, that's when you say, "Oh, you want 500?" My wife Jess has a great speech for this. She's like, "I wish you'd give me more notice. My marketing dollars for the quarter are all spoken up for. Our budget's been set in stone. But you know what? I think I could squeeze out 250 for you." Works every time. No one
Yeah,
turns away
7 out of 8
3 months.
times. I'll get once in a while they'll say no, and I'm like, fine. I'm not,
That's fine.
that wasn't for me. And then
Yeah, yeah.
there's some guys out there that don't like sponsoring anything, don't think there's an ROI. And they do good business too. I respect that. I mean, there's lots of ways to grow a business.
Yeah, we still pick and choose our battles. We don't do golf outings ever. Just
I hate
there's
them. I actually have one this Friday, but it's like a buddy of mine that's like, I do a
Mhm.
lot of stuff with him. He's a photographer. He's such a good buddy. I do other events. I hate the golf outings though, because it's like I'd rather go somewhere where I got everybody captive at one time and I get to speak. The golf outings, like people are here, there, and everywhere, and
Mhm.
guys are golfing. They're not. It just, it's never. I don't
Half
like
of the
them either.
teams aren't real estate agents. Half of
Yeah,
the
they
teams
got a
don't
buddy who's
even
a ringer or something.
yeah, they bring their buddies or it's mortgage and title people and you waste an entire day sitting underneath a tent in the sun. Like it's
Yeah.
just there's no reason whatsoever. We're a member of our local Real Producers
Yeah,
chapter
we're a member.
magazine. And we don't typically sponsor their events, but we show up to every single one and open a bar tab.
Oh, that's a
And
good idea.
that's the way you do it. I mean, we have our largest competitor in town is Linkhorn Home Inspections, and
Jerry.
he
Yeah.
sponsors a lot of those events. But because we're in the magazine, we get invited and show up to all of
Sure,
them.
it's the same way here. I don't spot. They call me a lot to try to get
Hmm.
the extra. I just pay the 500 a month or whatever. I think I got a quarter page ad, but I get to go to all
Yeah.
the events. And these
Yep.
are some top producers. I'll give you a little
Absolutely.
tip on that. I just went to one like a month ago, and you know how they does yours do where they like call them up for their award and they come up and get it or their framed picture, magazine, whatever.
We have release parties like that, and sometimes they'll do that.
Well, what I did, I noticed nobody was really filming it or anything. So I just literally
Okay.
filmed each one on my phone. And then later I sent it to them. And oh man, they all loved it. And these are all like top agents. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I got that video of you accepting and they're usually like, give a little quick,
Yeah.
thank you to my mom, dad, whoever, whatever. I
Um,
mean,
once every 3 months, maybe every 4 or 5 months, we'll call up our local publisher, Katie Milgate. She's amazing. And we'll say, hey, I don't know who you have coming up, but the next person that gets their framed article, we want to send it to them.
yeah,
And we send it to their office, usually deliver it with some flowers and a congratulatory note, something like that. Every single time we've done that, they've become one of our agents.
nice. Here, I'm gonna give you
I,
another tip, Hyde. You may be doing this
well,
already. Here's another tip. They're always looking for people to write articles. There's got to be a
mhm,
top agent. So get a couple of agents you work with, and what you do is email the producer, real producer's thing, and copy them that realtor on the email and say, "Dear so and so, I think y'all should look at this agent. She's a rock
uh,
star. She would be a great article." Dude,
yeah,
bam, bam, bam. Win,
yeah,
win, win all the way around. So if you haven't done that
and
already, well, they
yeah,
started
and
asking us way back. And then I just started doing it.
yeah,
I just started doing it and I'll copy the agent like Kayla, and Kayla's a rock star. I'm like, I, emailed the publisher, is like, hey,
hmm
Kayla's, rock star, blah, blah, blah. And then that's a win-win because she
yeah,
sees that and you spoke on their behalf.
absolutely.
I
That's
mean,
how you
that
get value out of real producers.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
when they first came about, I was like, wait a minute, pay $500 a month to be in a magazine. At a time when magazines are, yeah, I've got one. I think I've got one right here. Oh, I got two actually. I'm a member of two different real producers because I'm in Raleigh and
okay,
I'm in
yeah,
uh, Charlotte market too. But at first I was like, print media is dead, but it's not that. It's the fact that you're networking with these top, the Pareto principle, whatever, the 80-20. You're networking with the top 20%. And you
mm-hmm.
know, when you go to these things, at first I was like, I'd be a little intimidated, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, you get a drink or two and they get a drink or two and they're not
Yeah,
my experience is you just walk up and start talking to them, and
absolutely.
it's so much more of a guard down,
Yeah.
than some stuffy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like if I went to see them at their office or something, that might be a little
Oh yeah.
more. They're sitting
No,
at
no,
their high
no.
desk. You would be sitting over there. But when
Yeah,
you see
they
somebody
didn't.
at a bar or something,
Yeah,
you know,
they didn't go to a real producer event to not talk to people. Like
right,
that's why they went was to network with people. It's the explicit contract. We're not having the event so you can talk to two of your friends. No, you're coming out to talk to everyone. And they throw pretty decently large events. There'll be 100, 200 people, and they're all worth talking to. Really great events. But when it comes to real producers, if all you want to do is cut a check and make an ad, you're not going to find value there.
right, right. No,
It's
100%.
all about the events, and it's all about the events all the time. So getting your Real Producers magazine is one good way to find out about events that you can go to. Getting on your board website is an okay way. They'll have committees and whatnot that you can interact with. What we kind of started doing earlier that we really don't have to do anymore is getting involved with some of the Board of Real Estate's charitable stuff, like Realtor Care
Yeah.
Day, stuff like that. And then as you're there, you just have to meet people. You're planting flowers or whatever. And real estate agents, they want you to know about their event. They want people to show up.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Friend all of them on Facebook. Don't think like
Yep.
I've never met this person. They don't know a third of their people that they're friends with on Facebook either. Just get your top 20 list and friend all of them right away.
Right. So I'll take it one step further, Hyde. Go make a Facebook group,
Mhm.
Realtor Events, Columbus, Ohio, or the
Oh
greater
yeah.
Columbus area. And every event you can find, put it on there and
Yeah.
help promote it for and you're the person promote it and, invite every realtor that you know. And,
Hmm.
it's a win-win because you help them promote it. You find out about more events and things like that. Just anytime you can help a realtor out instead of, hat in hand, give me business, give me business, give me business. I mean, I think we got to get out of that. There's a mentality. I mean, I love all my brethren, but it's kind of like,
Yeah.
well, I do a good job. That's good enough. You got to put yourself in that realtor shoes. They got a tough job, man. They got a
Absolutely.
tough job. They're commission only. They have they're and they're straight. It's kind of like when we went back when we were talking about life
Yeah.
stressors. I mean, they have one of the most stressful jobs there is.
You know,
So if you
the
can ever do anything to help them out or make their life a little bit easier,
yeah.
they're going to love you.
The one that drives me crazy is I'll hear inspectors talk about like, well, I'm not sending this report to the realtor. I'm not, I don't work for them, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, you work for your client, but this realtor is quite literally their agent in
Right,
the deal. If your mom was involved in a lawsuit and her lawyer called you up and said, "Hey, Preston, I got some questions for you," you wouldn't be like, "Oh, no, I have to get some things signed. I got to talk to my mom first. Maybe we can talk later, but I don't know." No, you'd be like, "This is someone trying to help my people. This is someone trying to help my client." That's
right,
the relationship you should have with your realtors. No one's ever going to ask, or at least I'm never going to ask, and I'm never going to ask any of my guys to do anything unethical. We're not going to ask them to soften anything. But like we get questions, I don't know if you guys get them yet. Appraisers throwing up roadblocks to getting to close. We found
Mhm.
some moisture in a basement, stuff like that. And we'll get a call from a realtor. Hey, the appraiser threw up this thing. They say that they've got water penetration into the basement, and the underwriter wants a letter. Can you help us out? Okay. And I don't know what, and I won't ask you your opinion, but I'll tell you what we do. I tell my guys every
Go ahead.
single
I'll tell you what
time.
we did.
I'll tell you, my guys, every single time I tell them you're a licensed professional in the state of Ohio. You are always correct to say who you are and what you saw.
At the
So
time.
at the time. So if someone asks
Yeah.
you to go look at a basement, go look at it, tell them who you are and what you saw. That's all you have to do. And we will get, I kid you not, because you'll always have agents that don't use you that have their guy. And then their guy can't help them in a special circumstance.
Right,
They'll
right.
call us and we'll help them. They'll
Yeah,
call us and be like, "Hey, man, there's moisture in the basement. What can you guys help us with this letter?" Absolutely. I'll send my guy out. He'll say who he is and what he saw. And if that helps you out, we're happy to do it. And we'll end up getting realtors that way to start referring us, especially on their homes that they think might have a problem like that in the future.
100%. And I know, like, guys listen to this, the first thing they're thinking, which was my initial response to in my mind, not really, is, oh, they just want me to take on the liability of this. Oh, but I'm like, how can I help them out, but not take on liability that I can't? And just like you said, what we'll do is write a letter, but it'll be like, this is what we saw at the day of inspection. And then I'll
Mhm.
just have a disclaimer. I cannot predict the future
Nope.
or, what, so
Nope.
there's like a back door out of it. And
Yeah.
usually that will suffice for what that underwriter needs or whatever. And but yet, if something
And
does happen in the future, I had that disclaimer on there. Look, and I've got pictures of the day I was there. I can't
mhm.
predict the future any more than anybody else can.
And you only got this call because some chicken shit appraiser, pardon my French, didn't know enough to say, oh, there's just a little bit of water getting in. They need to clean the downspouts. And he
Right,
was trying to protect his liability. So he threw up this big roadblock. And meanwhile, you've got, nice people that want to get into a house and they just need one person to say, this is what we saw. This is what's wrong. This is who you should talk to.
right. I
That's a,
think the problem a lot of inspectors have, and I initially have, is, oh, wait a minute. You want me to promise that that basement will never ever leak ever?
no, we don't do that.
No, no, we
No.
don't. I mean, all
As a matter
basements
of
will
fact,
leak
we'll
eventually.
specifically say if these conditions are not corrected, you will continue to have problems with your foundation. But
Right.
that's all they need. They need it because we work for the client, we work for the buyer. The appraiser works for the bank. The
Yeah.
underwriter didn't get our report. By the way, never send an underwriter our report. You'd never get a house.
Oh no. Mm-mm. No,
But
100%.
so the underwriter is only there with this appraisal that's talking about this issue. They just need someone to go out there and give a little more clarity. Be like, yeah,
Right, right.
there's
And they're
water getting
sitting
into
in
this.
in a room locked up somewhere, so they don't have eyes on it. They have no idea what. So
And there's a
I hear
lot
you.
made out about the liability of the home inspection industry. I haven't found that to be true. 10 years, almost 8,000 home inspections. I know those are minor numbers compared to yours,
No,
but
please.
in 8,000 home inspections, we've had precisely one lawsuit. One in 8,000 is not the kind of industry with a lot of liability. I mean, I know restaurants that get sued one in 8,000 times they serve a meal. So
Yeah.
I don't find this to be an overly litigious or overly liable situation. We do just fine. We do good work, and that's enough.
Well, the good thing is I've been sued 4 times, but now I've been in business since, 99.
Hmm.
Went to court twice. Um, had several letters over the
Oh, of course.
you get a letter. A lot of times, initial letter will be just somebody they know that's a lawyer that they got to send it, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the one good thing, but bad thing. The one thing is, most of the time you're just talking about property damage. In lawsuits, if somebody gets hurt, that's the personal injury. That's why there's what they call ambulance chasers. And man, they're everywhere now, billboards and
Yeah.
fortunately with us, it's mostly property damage. But I do tell my guys, you get. I mean, if there was any kind of damage to a person in a house, it would be like the deck, banisters, stairs, something like
Hmm.
that. But most of the time we're talking about what a roof, a furnace. I mean, in the great big picture of the world, that's not a big deal, and it's
Yeah.
not even really worth like a lawyer because they're suing and all the stuff they have to do. They get a third. A third of
Yeah.
a furnace isn't actually a whole lot of money for them. you know,
No, not at all. We had our one and only lawsuit that drug out for 6 months,
yeah.
and we ended up in arbitration. And in arbitration, we all got in the room. Arbitrator asked us all of our particulars and whatever. We all went to separate conference rooms, and the arbitrator walked in and said they're willing to settle for $3,000. And
Write the check. It's
I
worth
wanted
it.
to jump out of my chair and be like, this has been 6 months. I would have given you $5,000 6 months ago to make this go away. And of course, my lawyer's there, and you know how lawyers cost. I paid her $3,000 just to come here for the day, and she's like, "We're not paying that." I'm like, "Whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. It's not going to go up." Like that's just at that point, it's just like we ended up settling for $1,500, but it still cost me $10,000 in lawyers' fees.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow.
I
We
wish
had one. I know
ours
we
was a crazy situation. We ended up switching insurance companies because of it and yada yada yada. But it was just when it gets to that point, nobody wins.
Oh
because
no, except the lawyers,
yeah,
except the
because we could
lawyers.
never get their lawyer on the phone for the previous 6 months. And if he
Mm,
had just picked up the phone, we would have made him an offer that was twice as much as what he got at arbitration. And he
yeah.
would have ended up with twice as much money. But I don't know. That's not my profession. I'm glad.
I'll give another tip. I know I sound like an old man. I walked to school 5 miles in the snow, but something that I've learned. We had one that oh my god, they wanted $38,000. Basically, our guy did the inspection. He found a ton of stuff, and then the uh, the woman basically, when they moved in, just invited a bunch of contractors in and told them just to go find stuff that needs to be done, and
Hmm.
this averaged up to like $38,000 or whatever. So then they wanted to get this for us. They contacted the local, the news, the watchdog. Every market has one, whatever.
Hmm.
That guy called me, but I didn't wind up on that, because I explained. So anyway, and well, there's a lot to the story, but so it we went through it line by line, and everything on that they found was on the report, with the exception of possibly four grand. So I think we made an offer 4 grand just to make this go away, because this woman just was like, she contacted this news thing. I mean, it was just deal from hell. Um, and
Yeah.
they called me, and I told them all of this, and they decided not to go with it because it wasn't, it wasn't a bad enough story for them to go with.
No.
But did you know she was going with the angle that, well, then the guy told me, he said, do you know that their daughter died, and they moved down here, and it's like, that was the angle she was going with. Their daughter died. They moved down here to be close to the son.
Right.
Adult daughter, by the way. This
Right.
woman was older. And it turns out that was true, but that was 5 years ago. I mean, her daughter did die, and it was like she was using that. I mean, this woman
Yeah.
was bad. I mean, I'm sorry she lost her daughter, but she was
Yeah.
bad news. Listen to this, Hyde. So it went back and forth, lawyers, whatever. I finally called the listing agent, and I said, I know you don't have to talk to me, but she knew me because I wear all these crazy pants.
Yeah.
I know most of the realtors in this market, or they
Yeah.
know me, or whatever. Says, Preston, I was just thinking about you the other day. She said, I told her what was going on, and she said, really? That woman was horrible. She got them down on the price using our inspection report, got them
Hmm.
down like 30 or $40,000 using the import. And she said, my poor little seller, and he had since died. I mean, he was like elderly, and I said, wait a minute. They got you down the price of the house for the same stuff now that they're saying that I missed, and
Hmm.
that was on the report. So I went back, I called my lawyer, and obviously if it went to court, deposition, you would get all this,
Yeah.
you, and I told him the deal, and I said, that's double dipping. That is double dipping. Yeah, that's fraud.
Right.
You're, and he called him, and they said they'd take the $4,000 that day, and I said, now we're only offering two. And
Yep.
they took it. But my point with that long rambling story is, if you ever find yourself in a situation like that, find out what the house, it's public information, what it
Yep.
sold for.
What it sold
And if
for.
it
Yeah.
sold for less,
Hmm.
find out. I mean, there's quite the possibility that they got them down for the
Hmm.
price for home inspection issues. And if that's true, you can't get paid for something twice. That's fraud, or get
Yeah.
compensated for something twice. And,
Yeah.
in letting each party think they're the only ones paying for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the classic joke because my team takes their job very seriously. And we're lucky enough to have a developed leadership structure to where I don't deal with any of our complaints anymore. Very rarely. If it gets to me, it's writing a check time, right?
Right, right, right.
Um, yeah. So every week at our leadership meeting, we'll go over CCRs just so we know if there's anything big that we need to pay attention to. That's usually how the conversation goes. It's like, nah, I mean, we got a ding in a sink and they're not happy about their dishwasher, but this isn't escalated. Okay, no problem. Let's move on. But it's and my team, they hate giving refunds, which I love. I love that about them. They protect our bottom line, right? But sometimes it gets to that point where it's like, give those people $1,000 so we can go back to work. Like we have better things to do than sit around and talk about this. Like give them their
You
money
know
and
what
we'll
I
send them
tell
on
them?
their
I'm
way.
like, have you ever dated a crazy person and you wanted to
Hmm.
break up? But we're in a contract with this crazy person, and this is a
Yeah,
cheap divorce.
yeah,
Imagine
absolutely.
finding out you've married a crazy person.
Hmm.
You're in a contractual relationship with them, and you can
Hmm.
get out for $1,000.
I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I wrote that check too. So that's a story for a bar at a conference for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
you live and learn, man, as you get older.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. But we
it's
deal with these incidences at a much higher rate than a lot of home inspectors do just because of the volume of transactions
oh
we
yeah.
do. If I was
Well,
going to
if you've
leave
got five
anything
guys, you're getting it 5 times as much.
if I was going to leave it anything with a single man shop listening to this, I would say, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. And when you get that letter from the lawyer, just talk to your buddies in the industry. Yeah, that lawyer said he needs $100,000, but we've
Ah,
literally gotten demand letters for 100 grand, replied with, we'll give you 1,000, and got the reply back with, we'll take 2,000. You went from $100,000 to 2,000 for one email. Guys, don't worry about that so much. It's gonna be fine.
yeah, lawyers do girl math, right? Like, like my wife comes home, she's bought something, but here's what she does. She goes and finds like the most expensive thing and shows me how much that cost. And then comes in with the thing she bought for less and tells me how much money she saved us. And I'm supposed to be happy that she saved us all this money. And it's like the same thing with lawyers. It's like you ask for the moon,
Yeah,
they moved the middle is what happened. So yeah,
yeah,
don't let it freak you out. I mean, and it's going to happen. It's becoming a seasoned inspector or a seasoned business owner. I tell my guys, I say, you know how they season meat? They
yep.
they they beat the hell out of it with a pointy hammer and then they rub salt in it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the same with becoming a seasoned inspector.
Yep,
You're gonna get
absolutely.
beat up with a hammer and then they're gonna rub some salt in it. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, well, I want to be respectful of your time. Uh, the one last question, then a quick game.
Okay,
Well, two questions actually. Um,
sure.
the craziest, weirdest, or wildest thing you've ever, or one of your guys has ever found on a home inspection.
We found a bomb.
What was it? I mean, active bomb, like the old World War II
Yeah,
bomb, or
yeah.
what are
So
we
this is a
talking?
this is a good story, and this is actually really recent. This is just from like a few weeks ago, maybe a month. Guy's at a house doing an inspection, and he's a ex-Marine.
Mhm.
He actually was a helicopter engine mechanic. So he worked around ordnance from time to time, so he knows what he's looking at usually and comes across a mortar round in someone's basement. And as soon as he sent us a picture of it, and he threw it into AI, and AI's like, this is a mortar round. This is from this time period. And if you look at it, you can tell, like, this is not a 3D printed piece of crap, right? This
Mhm.
has a
Okay.
dial on the top, everything's metal. We've got another inspector. He's a retired Army Ranger. And he's like, I don't know how you guys did it over there, but when we used fake ordnance in the Rangers, they would all have blue stripes on them. They would be marked as dummy ordnance. That way you don't end up with a live piece. This didn't have anything on it. So we, back away slowly,
Yeah.
learn what that is, and get done with the inspection. He leaves the house. We call up the seller's agent. Hey, just so you know, there's a mortar round in your basement. I think it's a bomb. And she goes, oh, yeah. So the seller's grandfather used to make munitions for the US military during World War II. This was one of his prototypes, but don't worry, there's no munition actually inside of it. It's inert.
So you
Okay?
say, I mean, you know how many people get shot with a unloaded gun?
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
like if this is what he really does, he didn't know enough to market as being a dummy round, as being not a
yeah.
live round. This was his livelihood. This is what he did for a living. And by the way, you put your house on the market. You didn't think to take the bomb out of the basement? Like, that's the most recent one that just had us all like, that's a new one for us. We don't find many bombs. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I've got a fingernail that is permanently messed up because I got shot with an empty BB gun that was
Yep.
pumped up to like it was one of those high powered ones. It was
Yeah.
in my room.
Yeah.
I was shooting the air like I would shoot, and my parents would get mad. This was when I was a teenager, so I'd put my finger over it to cover up the noise, and
Hmm.
it was empty. I had shot it through, but somehow there's BB in it. Blew my fingernail. Anyway, long story. But
If it had been
empty
any of
gun
our
shoots
other,
more people than
yeah, if it had been any of our other inspectors, we might have been reacted a different way. But we've got an ex-Marine and we've got an ex-Army Ranger saying that's a bomb, and I'm like, okay.
that's crazy. That
So
is crazy.
anyway,
All right, last question before the little quick game. Um, let's say hi, this you woke up tomorrow and you've got all your equipment, all your computer, all you don't have to buy any of that infrastructure stuff. You've got all of that. But in a parallel universe, same size as Columbus, but you don't know anybody. You've got 5 grand. What are you doing with that 5 grand to get your name out there, or get some realtors to know you, or to generate some business? And again, your
uh,
computers, all that's paid for.
you know, I'm gonna go to Philippine online jobs.ph or whatever it's called. I'm going to
Okay.
hire a virtual assistant from the Philippines directly. I'm not going to go through a placement office. You can get a
Hold on. Tell
virtual
me that
assistant.
website again. I want to write that down.
Maybe I should get it right then if I'm going to bring it up. Hold on.
Philippines, because we go
Um,
through one of the agencies, and from what I understand,
so
they don't pay them much. I'd
it's
rather
just
pay
called
them
onlinejobs.ph.
online jobs, and you can hire them directly.
Yep, you pay for on onlinejobs.ph. They're going to want you to sign up for a membership, but they'll do it month to month. Just pay $30 for 1 month because that's all you're going to need. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to hire a virtual assistant through there. We have a very specific process. I'm going to get them for about 450 to $5 an hour.
Mm,
And through our interview process, we're going to get someone that's incredibly qualified, that's happy to come work for a home inspection company, because a lot of them end up working for either cell phone companies or realtors cold calling, and those jobs are nightmares.
yeah.
And they would love to come and
It's like
do,
sweatshop.
they would
The
love to
technology
come.
equivalent of a sweatshop.
Yep. They would love to come do online research for you and to set up your CRM and to send out mass emails and to help you with anything you need help with for
I've heard
$5
a
an
lot of
hour.
those folks actually have knowledge of that too. I mean, they're
Yeah.
pretty smart. Is
So
it?
the
I
one
guess
we're
it's the
working,
Philippines. Is that where you're getting them?
yeah,
And
my
they're
guy's out of the Philippines. And to give you a quick story, like we got back from our conference, and one thing we don't have good control of is our close rate, how many people call us and how many people book an inspection. So I tasked my virtual assistant, hey man, go through Zoho, listen to every single phone call we have, and put it in a bucket. Did we book an inspection? Did we not book an inspection? Why didn't we book it? Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, okay, no problem. I go, do you have any questions? He goes, no, I did this for years for Sprint. And I had to listen to 8 different call reps and grade their calls every day. And he said, how many call
oh,
reps do you have? I said, 2. He said, this, no problem. 3 hours a day, I'm done. I'm like, great. So for literally $10 to $15 a day, someone QAs all of our phone calls.
wow,
So I would absolutely get someone like that working for me. The rest of it I'm going to spend on social and getting out to meet real estate agents. The best
awesome.
ROI we've ever had is a cup of coffee or a pint of beer.
Yeah, yeah.
You you
I like
you
that.
don't, yeah, you don't
Yeah,
have
I
to
guess
sponsor the
in the
event.
morning it's coffee, in the evening it would be beer.
No,
So depending on
you
when, I
don't
guess when you're meeting them.
you don't have to sponsor an event to open a bar tab. They're not going to stop you. Okay?
Yeah.
Just get to the event, open a bar tab, everything will be fine.
Well, the good thing is too, what you can do is like if they're already at the bar and they order, it's like you walk up there before they say put that on mine or something, then
Yeah,
that's an immediate. They're going to talk to you. You just bought their drink. I mean,
yeah,
the law of reciprocity. You did something for me. The last thing I can do is at least, uh, you know, I mean, heck, that's how I got the Dylan chalk on my. I mean, I was at one of the events and he did it to me. I was getting a Jack and Coke or whatever. He came up and paid for it. So now I'm like, oh man. So I mean, I feel so. I put him on a podcast to put his, and I like Dylan. Don't get me wrong, he's a good dude. But anyway, all right. I've used a lot of your time. Let me quickly this or that. So I'm going to give you two things, and you
okay.
you choose between them: iOS or Android.
Android.
Me too. Me too. Most people are iOS. I'm Android.
I
Old
don't need
school
a
wristwatch
smartphone for
or
dumb people.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
Well,
say
they you
that.
get more phone for the money. You get more memory,
Absolutely.
more stuff. Yeah. I old school a smartwatch, or you like an old school wristwatch guy?
Neither. I don't wear watches.
You just use your phone,
My phone's
whatever.
got a time on it.
Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
Uh, biggest uh biggest NFL blunder. Uh, what's his name to the Jets quarterback or Vince Young to the Browns?
Okay, so we're gonna say Deshaun
Aaron,
Watson.
Aaron, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rod. All right, biggest
Oh,
what's the
that
word?
could be
Bust
made.
or mistake. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets or Vince Young to the Browns.
I'm Aaron Rodgers is a crazy bag of cats.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna. That's just no. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. All right. All right. He's a free agent. You guys can pick
There's
him
a
up. You only got like six guys in
yeah
your quarterback room right
yeah.
now.
There's a reason he's a free agent. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a skill set. I'll give him that. But you're
He
right.
did.
He's like, and I want to like him, but he's just so odd and like
Yeah.
he'll take issue with something stupid like deal. Like,
I could wax poetic about Aaron Rodgers for the next 35 minutes, but you probably want to go on to the next question.
yeah. Tennis shoes or flip flops?
Tennis shoes.
If you had to have one of these, a mullet or a bowl cut,
Oh, ew. Mullet, you can hide that. Well, I'm
they're
not gonna
coming
lie to
back,
you.
man.
Yeah, I guess I probably go with bowl cut because I don't like things on my neck.
um, let's see. I did that one. This is about as fun as that one. Be trapped in a room full of mosquitoes or a room full of clowns.
Clowns? I think clowns. I think I'd rather be trapped with clowns. That sounds like an event. Mosquitoes just sounds like trauma.
Yeah. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future?
Past. Yeah. Whenever
I go
Apple went,
past with my knowledge of who's going to win Super Bowls or whatever. I start betting
absolutely.
like Biff on Back to the Future.
Hmm.
um, let's see. I think I did that one. The most important one: toilet paper, over or under, mullet or
Over.
beard,
Over. I'm
over.
a home inspector. I know how this is supposed to be. Listen to me.
Roy put out a video. Roy Weir out in
Yeah, yeah.
Iowa. He's pretty funny. He did a TikTok where one was under, and he films himself. First, he goes thumbs down, and then he switches it. Thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Most people say over, but I do hear if you have cats, they go under because the
Under
cats
is
will.
better.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
you
they'll unwind it. When they do that.
well, you missed the question, and the answer is dogs, because you shouldn't have cats. You should have dogs.
Yeah. What is it? Dogs have owners, cats have servants. Is it
Yes,
that?
100%.
I've had both in my life. Right now, I got two dogs, and I love them. But well, one's real easy as cat poo. I know I should have a big dog, but I want a dog that's low maintenance. And then I got a French bulldog, and that is anything but low maintenance. You guys got a dog?
We have two, actually. Yes,
What kind?
two
Yeah,
two big guys. Um, can we hit pause for a second?
sure. Well, I tell you what.
Oh,
Well, oh, you got it. Okay.
give me one
Um,
second, okay?
okay. Go ahead. Hey guys, thanks for listening. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I hope you're getting value out of it. I'm sponsoring, I guess, myself. I'm not really selling anything, but Hey man, I thought I'd just tell you about I do a little art on the side, PrestonSandlin.com. Check it out if you got some time. Kind of do some cool looking stuff, I think, but I understand that art is subjective. Also, I'll follow you back if you follow me on TikTok. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants. I'm Inspector Crazy Pants on Instagram. We have two on Instagram: Inspector Crazy Pants and Home Inspection Carolina. We are also, Home Inspection Carolina on Facebook, and you can check out our website, homeinspectioncarolina.com. But you guys follow me, I'll follow you back. Comment, I'll try to comment back. I think it helps everybody's algorithm. So without further ado, I'll let you get back to the podcast. I just want to say I appreciate you listening, and hopefully we'll see each other sometime at a conference. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that, Keith.
sorry, I probably made this longer.
No, no, I just had something I had to take care of real quick, but no, I've got more time.
I got you. Well, I'm about to wind it up anyway. What kind of dog do you guys have?
So we have
Dogs.
yeah, we have two big ones. We have a 90-pound Shar Lab,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we have an 80-pound Pit Rock Chow. And you hear Pit Rock Chow and you think the most three aggressive breeds ever. This
Yeah,
is the best dog I have ever had. Uh,
really.
he's he's got a big pitty neck. I'm sorry,
Uh,
big Rottweiler neck, but he's got the purple tongue and the curly tail. He's a tiger stripe brindle brown. And he has always just been the most loving nanny dog you could ever ask for. I've seen him show aggression exactly one time in 10 years. And it was when my daughter, she was just like 6, 7, 8 months old. And mom was vacuuming and she thought she was going to tease baby with the vacuum, right? It's coming to get you. And that dog sat his ass in front of that vacuum and said, "You shall not pass." And
huh.
that is like the
Well,
only time,
that was a good aggression. That was a good aggression. I'm glad it ended
absolutely.
that way. I was worried it was going to be against your daughter. I was like, oh, that's not good.
Nope. Nope. That dog, he would jump in front of a bullet for you. I mean, he's a great dog. Now, my other dog, my Shar Lab, they're named Riggs and Murtaugh. If you're an 80s movie fan, you'll get the reference. Uh, it's from Lethal Weapon.
Oh, yes, yes. It's been a minute
Ri-
since it's been a minute.
Riggs is just a moody little teenager that needs your attention and needs your love. And Murtaugh has a job and he's on the job every day. So they're great, man.
Nice,
I love them.
nice. Same, same. We have two dogs, and we have Zach. Zach was our first dog. Now we have Zoe and Ziggy, and
Okay.
Ziggy's I'm a big dude. I'm embarrassed to say this. A Cavapoo. And then Zoe's a French Bulldog. We've had all Z dog names, but
Okay.
they're both really good dogs. I'm getting a roof put on today though. They're going nuts because you're
Oh
hearing all
yeah.
this noise and stuff. But anyway,
Literally the sky falling.
oh yeah, it's like every dude walks by the window or a shingle comes down. He's like losing
Yeah.
his shit. Anyway. All right,
So
Hyde. Well, I know you've
no, go
got
ahead.
work to do. I appreciate it, man. You've dropped lots of gold nuggets. For everybody listening, I want y'all to go give the guy some likes, some follows, whatever the kids do these days. I think it helps out, right?
Right.
What's your intellectual, not intellectual, but your properties, your like your Facebook, your all
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
handles and
So
stuff.
it's Cap City Property Inspections. I think the actual hashtag is Cap City Inspect if you search
Okay.
that on Instagram. But you can find Cap City Property Inspections on Facebook and whatnot. And I always loved listening to this podcast when I was a new inspector back
Oh,
in
thanks.
2019. I used to listen to you in the truck and whatnot. And I always just loved that this fostered one of those environments where it was okay for inspectors just to talk to inspectors about things and to not have to worry or,
Oh
uh,
yeah, we can't say
give
anything bad
out.
about this person because they're a sponsor. I
No,
have no sponsors.
right? So,
But that
if
frees you up to talk about it, the real stuff.
yeah, and if anyone ever wants to reach out, feel free to hit me up on Facebook. That's where I do most of my chatting. Any questions or anything like that, just let me know. I'm always here for home inspectors. It's one of the great passions that we've had for the last 10 years.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Hyde. It's Hyde Anderson Cap City Properties, and you can message him through face. I mean, that's how we were
Yeah.
messaging through there. So I mean, it works out. Well, thank you so much, Hyde. I appreciate all that you do, and man, you've given a whole bunch of gold nuggets today.
Thanks, Preston. I'll see you at the next event.
All right, thanks, man.